All right, welcome back. So now we're going to jump into a brand new example that looks at percentiles, and we'll just reinforce the process. So now we have a table that lists 35 sorted budget amounts in millions of dollars from the simple random sample of movies listed in data set 9. Appendix B, use the data to find the following percentiles. So we want P90 for this data set. Now again, it is sorted, so if we just eyeball it, you can see they do increase as we go. So what do we have to do first? If we're trying to find P90, we need L. So we got to get our L first. So what's L? You already forgot, didn't you? So remember, K over 100, so 90 over 100, times N, which N in this case now is 35. So let's just be careful. So we got 90 divided by 100 is 0.9 times 35 equals 31.5. So 31.5. And now remember our flow chart up above says that we need to round it up. So we're going to the 32nd value. All right, so what is the 32nd value? Now, you can count from the smallest all the way up to the 32nd, or we could be lazy and go backwards. 35, 34, 33, 32 should be 150. Now, what am I forgetting? You're right. We got to remember those units. So what the units, remember, were millions of dollars. So don't forget your units. 150 million bucks. All right. Let's see what P60 looks like. So we had 60 over 100 times 35. So again, just to make sure, 0.6 times 35 equals 21. Exactly. So let's scroll back up here and see what their flowchart tells us. Again, make sure you get your magnifying glass. So it says when L is a whole number, it says the value of the kth percentile is midway between the nth value and the next value in the sorted list of data. Find piece of k by adding the nth value and the next value and dividing the total by 2. So it's kind of like the median when there's an even case. So that's the way to think of it. So you're looking at that value and the next one and averaging them. So in this case, we want the 21st and the 22nd values. So the 21st value, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 21 is going to be 70. And the 22nd is going to be 72 then. So we want to average those together, which I think we can do pretty quickly in our head. So 71 million bucks. So again, this doesn't happen a ton of times, but it does happen. So, make sure you go that extra step and look at that number and the next one and average those two values out. So, all right. Now the next part of this is just still building off these quartiles and whatnot. But now we're going to be looking at quartiles. Quartiles is, well, think quarters. First quarter would be 25% of the way, second quarter 50%, third quarter 75%. So pretty logical in how you should interpret those. Now the one other important fact is that when you're looking at Q2, which is P50, that is the same value as the median. So if you're using the same set of data for multiple problems and you had to find the median somewhere, you can cheat a little bit and use that median if you're asked for Q2. So you don't have to go through all the steps to calculate it. So really Q1 and Q3 should be the only ones you really need to calculate if you're doing all those different measures. So they want you to use that same data set with the 35, and they want you to find Q1, Q2, and Q3. So let's do that real quick. So we got to first find our locator value. So Q1 is P25, so K is 25. All right, so we want 25% essentially of 35, which, well, should be 8.5, but let me just double check. Oh, excuse me, 8.75. 8.75. And so now we should round this up to the ninth value. So the ninth value, I guess I can't do it that way. The ninth value, so 10, so the ninth would be 35. 35 would be our ninth value. And don't forget your units. All right, Q2. So now we got 50. Now, how do you think this value, this L value, should vary compared to this L value? This was 25, this is 50. So what do you think is going to be your value of L without doing any calculator work? Hopefully it should be double this. So 17.5, which rounds to the 18th value. And then take a wild guess at what you think about this one. Now, be careful. Don't just double and triple this rounded value, because that might throw it off a little bit. Always do it off the raw calculation, and that's the safer way to do it. So in this case, you got 75 over 100 times 35, which looks like what, 26.25, so 27th value. All right, so we need 18 and 27. So let's see what we got. All right, so there's 20. So 18 is the 68, 30, 29, 28, 27. So 68 and 113. Okay. So again, not anything super terrible. But again, it's nice to have that data set someplace where you can easily access that, so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. But the calculations, again, they're not super challenging. It's just you got to know what numbers are apply for the different variables. That's the important piece. So now the next video is just going to show you how we can incorporate all this information into a nice diagram. That's something we can visually look at and kind of make some analyses of those diagrams. So we'll see that in the next video. So.